Gripen E operates with a new agile architecture system, which allows the aircraft to be upgraded with new tactics and new capabilities seamlessly.
What we designed the system for is actually to be able to withstand the extreme max in terms of cold, so minus 40, minus 45.
10,000 research and manufacturing jobs could land in Canada if Ottawa adds the Swedish fighter jet to its military.
You are pitching to Canada both fighter jets and surveillance planes. To be clear, is it your company's intention, if the Canadian government does go ahead with Saab, to manufacture both these products here in Canada?
It's important for Canada to have sovereign capability in Canada to do their own upgrades, to build parts of it, to do final assembly and tests. We, as Saab, we are prepared to do that technology transfer to Canada and support that build.
For decades, Donald Trump's America believed it had built something permanent. A global weapons architecture so deeply embedded in allied procurement that no serious alternative could ever rise to challenge it. NATO countries bought American jets, integrated American systems, accepted American approval as the price of American protection. That was the deal. And for 70 years, almost everyone paid it. But something is changing, quietly, strategically, and the signal is coming from inside a factory in Ontario. Dear viewers, this is not a story about fighter jets. This is a story about sovereignty, about a middle power that looked at Donald Trump's America and made a decision. Not a loud decision, not a defiant speech, a calculated one. Mark Carney does not react, he calculates. Donald Trump had spent months applying maximum pressure on Canada, tariffs, trade threats, public humiliation. The message was simple and brutal. You need us more than we need you. Stay in line, because you have no alternative. Mark Carney heard that message, and he chose to answer it not with words, but with steel and supply chains. The whole architecture begins with a war. In October 2025, Ukraine signed a letter of agreement to purchase 150 Gripen E fighter jets from Sweden. First aircraft expected as early as 2026. But Saab can currently produce only 20 to 30 jets per year. At that pace, Ukraine would need 5 to 7 years to receive the full order. For a country absorbing missile strikes almost every single day, that timeline is not a strategy. That is a sentence. Ukraine needed more jets, fast. And that pressure forced Saab to search for an international manufacturing partner capable of scaling production dramatically. Brazil builds Gripens under license, but focuses on domestic needs. Thailand operates them with no manufacturing line. Czech Republic has orders, but no production capability. One by one, the options narrowed, until the most logical partner entered the conversation: Canada. Read that again. Not a European power, not a traditional defense manufacturer. Canada, a country sitting directly inside Donald Trump's most aggressive diplomatic pressure campaign, being squeezed with tariffs, threatened with economic isolation, publicly dismissed by an administration convinced its northern neighbor had nowhere else to turn. That arrogance, that miscalculation, it may become one of the defining strategic errors of the entire Trump era. Because Bombardier already has almost everything required: factories, highly skilled engineers, established supply chains, decades of commercial jet experience, internationally certified quality control systems. The industrial foundation was already there. The only things missing were fighter aircraft design expertise and military engines. Saab and Rolls-Royce could provide exactly that. This is the architecture of Mark Carney's masterstroke. First layer: Saab transfers the aircraft design, technology, training, and full certification process. Second layer: Rolls-Royce supplies the EJ230 engines from its Canadian facilities. 20 to 30 jets per year from day one, with genuine room to scale higher as global demand grows. Third layer: Bombardier handles manufacturing infrastructure, workforce expansion, and industrial capacity across North American soil. The result is a full-scale Gripen E assembly line built in Ontario. Translation: Canada is not buying into someone else's defense ecosystem. Canada is building its own. Under the current plan, Sweden manufactures roughly 50 aircraft. Canada takes over production of the remaining 100 jets at the new Ontario facility. First deliveries could begin by late 2026 or early 2027, ramping aggressively across the following 3 years. If the timeline holds, Ukraine could have a Gripen fleet large enough by 2030 to significantly shift the balance of air power in the war. Canada is still considering the Gripen for its own air force, in a deal involving as many as 72 additional fighter jets. And this was never only about Ukraine. If that decision is finalized, Ontario becomes a permanent production hub serving Canadian national defense directly. That means a minimum of 172 fighter aircraft built on North American soil, a volume large enough to sustain the line for years and anchor a generational defense industry. The economic numbers make the transformation undeniable. Saab originally estimated the Gripen deal for Canada alone could generate around 12,600 jobs. Add the Ukrainian order, and that number rises by another 3,000 to 5,000 positions. Assembly engineers, systems integration specialists, quality control inspectors, supply chain managers. Between 15,000 and 18,000 high-skill aerospace careers across Ontario and Quebec. Enough to reshape an entire industrial region. Enough to make Donald Trump's economic pressure feel considerably less threatening than it did before this project existed. This is not job creation. This is strategic insulation built into the economy itself. Now consider what this means for the control model Donald Trump's America has operated under for 70 years. ITAR regulations gave America near total authority over allied military procurement. American components were embedded inside almost every major Western weapons platform. No part moved without American approval. No aircraft exported without American sign-off. That was the leverage. The architecture of dependency. A Gripen production line in Ontario dismantles that architecture completely. The design comes from Europe. The engines from the United Kingdom. The assembly happens in Canada. The customer is Ukraine. And almost nowhere in that chain does Donald Trump's America possess the ability to intervene. No critical American components. No ITAR restrictions. No approval button in the Pentagon. The aircraft gets built, delivered, and deployed into combat with virtually zero direct American control. Mark Carney does not react, he calculates. And what is making the American defense establishment uncomfortable is not just this deal, it is the precedent. If Canada can do this, why not Poland? Why not Germany? Why not Spain or Italy? Poland has spent billions on the F-35 while facing Russia directly. But that dependency on an unpredictable partner is its own strategic vulnerability. Germany's defense planners have grown openly skeptical about long-term American reliability under Donald Trump. More officials across Europe are asking a question unthinkable a decade ago. Does depending this heavily on Donald Trump's America still serve our national interest? Every Gripen sold is one fewer F-35 contract. Every NATO nation choosing Ontario over an American production line is another ally stepping back from total American dependence. And that threatens a program whose total lifetime operating cost is projected to exceed $2 trillion. If international orders shrink, cost per aircraft rises for every country still inside the program. American dominance weakens precisely as allies discover they are more capable of self-sufficiency than Donald Trump's administration ever anticipated. For 70 years, the assumption held. The supply chains were American, the approval was American, the leverage was American. Mark Carney just proved the assumption was wrong, without a single press conference designed for that purpose. While Donald Trump was making noise about tariffs and dominance, Mark Carney was quietly signing industrial partnerships that will outlast any single administration. The factories will still be running when the political noise fades. The jets will still be flying when the trade war headlines are forgotten. Ontario is not building a factory. Ontario is building the proof of concept for a new NATO, one where middle powers manufacture their own sovereignty, one where strategic patience outlasts chaotic pressure, one where a calm, calculating leader quietly restructures an entire ecosystem while the loudest voice in the room is still arguing about tariffs. This is not a procurement story. This is the opening chapter of a global reordering. And somewhere inside Donald Trump's America, in the defense boardrooms and policy offices, people are beginning to understand the full weight of what was just quietly built in Ontario. The 70-year order is not ending with a confrontation. It is ending with a factory. What do you think about all this? Tell us in the comments below. See you in the next one.